All right, it's a little bit after 9 o'clock on Wednesday, July 16th. It's time for our weekly meeting of the Logansport Board of Works and Safety. Please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Roll call, please.
Ron Miller.
Present.
Chris Armstrong.
Here.
Mayor Franklin.
Here. Approval of minutes from the July 9th, 2014 meeting.
I've reviewed them. I make a motion we approve as presented the minutes from the July 9th, 2014 meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, passes on a vote of 3-0. Approval of claims in the amount of $433,118.38.
I have reviewed the claims. I would make a motion that we approve the claims as presented in the amount of $433,118.38.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, passes on a vote of 3-0. Approval of licenses. We have two for consideration today, Mark Maupin and Anthony Carmichael, both electricians licensed. They are in our packet. I make the motion that we approve both of those licenses at the same time.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion?
None.
No.
I don't see anybody here. Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, passes on a vote of 3-0. Are there any changes to the agenda?
No.
Hearing none. Okay, are there any visitor comments? No? Okay. Old business. Code enforcement officer.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Old business, we got one, 1401 Astor Street. I've personally seen very little improvement since they were here last, or since it was in front of the Board of Works last, which was 2 weeks ago, I believe. I don't know what to recommend on this. This has been going on since April 21st was the day of the initial inspection. The initial letter went out to them on April 22nd. I'm going to put it in your hands.
I am familiar with this case. I have driven by and have personally witnessed them at least attempting. I know they've had some health issues. Both of them are in failing health, but I did personally see them out at least attempting to make some more progress. I would like to suggest that we extend the property cleanup, the time, for another 2 weeks, and give me a chance to go over and talk to them personally and see if we can make some progress that way. So that is in the form of a motion to grant another 2-week extension.
What's the date in 2 weeks?
That would be July 30.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Is there anybody here representing 1401 Astor Street? Diane or Joe? No. Okay, it's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, it passes on a vote of 3-0 to extend for another 2 weeks. That's all the old business. Thank you. Under reports from Code Enforcement Officer, you'd be the first one up today.
Under reports, first up will be Mr. and Mrs. Dwayne Fritz at 1103 Erie Avenue concerning a wood pile that is stacked closer than ordinance allows to a neighbor's residence. They have had several complaints on this. We do have Mrs. Fritz is here. I'd like to call her up and have the board give the board an opportunity to address it with her.
I see.
Hi, Chris. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Thanks for being here. Just to make sure that you understand what's actually taken place. There's an ordinance in town about firewood being stacked within a certain distance of. It's been a while since I looked at it, but I believe it's not only the neighbor's property, but also possibly even the property line or a fence or any existing structure. And there's a minimum setback on both those. I think that's where this issue, has caused this issue to arise. It does appear that it's probably in violation of city ordinance, and then we have had a number of calls and a couple visits to my office asking for some kind of resolution on this. And according to our records, this goes back to a while. I'm trying to find the exact date of the first notice. Do you have it, George?
June 9th.
June 9th, so it has gone on for a while now. Do you have any plan of action?
We're planning on, we got to find some place to move it. The
Okay.
spot that we've got's not big enough for the wood that we have. And we're talking to friends that live in the country to see if we can move it out there until we need it.
Okay. Do you have any idea? Give me a timeline.
Well, Dwayne's been working overtime, I've been working overtime. We're going to try to get a Saturday where we can get a bunch of people together and just get it moved. Hopefully, maybe this Saturday, not promising, probably next Saturday.
So you're talking about July 25th?
Yeah.
Would be the soonest you could get it done?
Mm-hmm. And we're going to move it all, so.
Let me ask you this. Is there any way that you could move at least the portion that's closest to the neighbor's house away? Even if you don't get it hauled away, you get it moved back
Yeah.
from the neighbor's house?
We can do that, yes.
And you think you could have that done this weekend?
We can, yeah.
Okay. And George, do you know the setback requirement, the distance?
Chris, I sent you a copy of the ordinance. Wasn't it 15 feet?
20.
20 feet?
20 feet.
from home, yeah.
Okay, 20 feet. So you can get it moved back 20 feet?
Well,
Over.
we're moving it to the other side of the property, but we can move that part back, yeah.
Okay, if you get that cleared back 20 feet, then I believe at that point in time, you would be in compliance with the terms of the ordinance.
Okay.
But I would be willing to extend the time to allow you till Saturday. Actually, we would be meeting again next Wednesday, July 23rd. And if you can get that part of it back, I think you're going to be in compliance with the terms of the ordinance. We'll go by and do a re-inspection probably would be next Tuesday. I'm not sure what Georgia's schedule looks like, but next Tuesday would be the 22nd. We would meet here again on the 23rd.
Okay.
If it's moved back by the 22nd, or well, technically the 23rd, when we meet again next week, then you've met the terms of the ordinance. And if it's not, we're going to be inclined to order a property cleanup where we would go in. You would probably, in all likelihood, lose the wood. We would haul it to the city compost site, is in all likelihood where it would go. We're not allowed to sell anything or anything like that if we do a property cleanup. So, and we have, it's not our desire to try to make money or to make anyone benefit. We just want to meet the terms of the ordinance and how it's spelled out. So we would haul that to the compost site, and it would be ground into sawdust basically, and there would be no BTU value in that whatsoever. And I know that you do heat your house with the wood, and I certainly want to afford you every possibility of not losing out on the hard work and labor that you guys have invested in these wood piles. I'm a little familiar with that. I've done it myself over a number of years ago. So I would make the motion that we extend the cleanup. We'll give you one more week. Technically, that would be until 9 a.m. next Wednesday, July 23rd. And if you've moved the wood pile by then, please notify our office that it's moved. It's moved back 20 feet. And then we'll come by and take a quick glance at it. And if it's moved, then you've met the terms of the ordinance. So I would make that into the form of a motion to allow another 1 week extension to get the wood pile moved by July 23rd at 9 a.m.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? This would be your chance if you would like to weigh in. Mr. Honeycutt. Please, if you would come up here and state your name for the microphone.
name's James Honeycutt. I live at 1106 Woodlawn. The only problem I got, who's going to reimburse me for having my house exterminated? Because I didn't bring the bugs in.
That's a question that I can't answer. I would perhaps turn to the city attorney if he has any advice on that situation.
Well, that would be between the two parties, and the city wouldn't have anything in that.
So the answer from the city attorney is that the city really has no involvement. It becomes a civil matter at that point. It becomes an issue between the two property owners. So that was, the city has no position in that whatsoever.
Okay. That's why I was curious, because I just kicked out 275 Monday to have them exterminated. And he looked at it, he says, I don't know if it's going to do any good with that wood still there.
So, okay. Well, I guess the short answer is I can't answer your question other than to say that's an issue between the neighbors, and the city really doesn't have a position and won't take a position in that.
Okay.
Okay? Thank you very much. Is there any other discussion regarding the property at 1103 Erie Avenue? Hearing none. All right, we have a motion and a second. It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of allowing a one-week extension to July 23rd at 9 a.m. for the property to be, for the wood pile to be relocated at 1103 Erie Avenue, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Passes on a vote of 3-0. So, Chris, you're good till next Wednesday morning, 9 o'clock. All right. Thank you, Mr. Honeycutt, as well.
Thank you.
Okay, next. George?
Next is James Franklin. I would ask for a 2-week extension on this one until July 30th. We'll bring it back to the board.
Okay, July 30, yeah. It looks like mostly firewood again and wood of some sort. Have you been able to make contact with Mr. Franklin?
No, I have not.
Is he your brother?
No.
Okay. Just
No
wanted to
relative.
all right, just wanted to make sure. All right. You've made a suggestion that we grant a 2-week extension. I would make the motion that we accept your recommendation. It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there anybody here from 1600 George Street? Anybody representing James Franklin? All right, hearing none, it's been moved and properly seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Passes on a vote of 3-0. Okay, next.
Next is James Anderson, 1016 Pleasant Hill. You can see from the pictures, this is quite a mess. This is now a private residence. At one time, several years ago, it was a greenhouse used as a floral shop. There are several greenhouses at the rear of the structure that are literally falling in on themselves, glass falling out of them. It's in pretty bad shape. What I'm addressing is the trash, the debris, cinder blocks, wood pile, an old trailer, sofa, items like that that are sitting on and around the property and have been for quite some time. My recommendation would be that the city order a cleanup on the property.
Do you have the checklist?
Yes.
It's in here, yeah.
Attached to yours.
Okay, date of inspection 6/20. I have noticed this. I've noticed the furniture. It's the sofa that's sitting outside has probably been there much longer than your initial date of inspection. I recall this address being before us earlier, about 2.5 years ago. I believe there's a different owner at the time.
Yes, it was.
And we were able to make contact with him. He voluntarily performed a cleanup, and then he has since sold the property. So it looks like we've made every reasonable attempt to contact the owners. I don't see any progress. I don't see any intent there for them to make any progress in cleaning up this property. So I make the motion that we order the property cleanup at 1016 Pleasant Hill. It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there anybody here representing 1016 Pleasant Hill or James Anderson? Chris, is that you? No. Okay. It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? It passes on a vote of 3-0.
Next is 1320 Liberty Street. There was a cleanup ordered on this one last week. However, this is a different violation that occurred after the initial contact from last week's violation. Notice was served, certified, and no attempt has been made to remove the mattress that has been in the backyard since at least June the 20th.
See, Superintendent of Public Works Dan Williams in the back. Did you initiate any kind of property cleanup at 1320 Liberty Street within the last?
We did initiate it, and when we saw the extra stuff there, we pulled off.
Okay. It probably makes sense that you did. I would make the motion that we order the property cleanup at 1320 Liberty Street.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there anybody here representing 1320 Liberty Street or Mickey Smith? Okay, hearing none. It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Passes on a vote of 3-0. Will you get that one today, Dan? Okay, thank you. And last, oh, I'm sorry, George, you have one?
Next one is the last one, 1301 Chicago Street. I have had complaints on this. You can see from the pictures it's quite a mess of pile of wood. Looks like an old bucket that someone used to change oil in their car with sitting there. The house is in foreclosure. I have had contact with the registered owner or the owner of record. They no longer live in the state of Indiana. They live outside of Indiana. Proper notice has been made through regular mail on the initial notice as well as certified mail. The property owner did contact me when he received both letters, and again, he advised me that the bank had ordered him to have no contact on the property, not to trespass, and he did not even know the name of the bank that had foreclosed on him right now.
I make the motion we order the property cleanup at 1301 Chicago Street.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there anybody here representing 1301 Chicago Street or the interest thereof? Hearing none. All in favor signify. It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Passes on a vote of 3-0. And then I would make a motion to accept the report as submitted by the code enforcement officers for the week of July 16th, 2014.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes on a vote of 3-0. Okay, next we have Chief of Police. Glad to see you could make it this month, Mike.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Before you, you should have a copy of my June 2014 monthly report for the Logansport Police Department. Entertain any questions you may have.
How you doing on your gasoline budget this year?
I think we're a little more than, we're about 60%
60%.
used.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I have no questions. I'd make the motion that we accept or that we approve the chief's report as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, pass on a vote of 3-0. I'd like to see you after this, if I could.
Okay, I'd like to mention one other thing. We, as of last Friday, we had one of our officers graduated from the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy, and currently he's back and starting his FTO, Field Training Officer program, so we'll have a new addition out on the street here shortly.
And you have one opening currently?
3.
You have 3 openings
3.
currently? Okay.
We're in the process. We have 2 that are at perf, but they haven't been approved yet. As soon
Okay.
as we get that approval, I'll be back to you for
Okay.
final approval.
I did notice that.
Okay.
I thought it was a new man.
Next is Fire Chief. Good morning.
I submitted my June report. And any questions? Or pretty much on average.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. And then we did. And how are you doing on your gasoline budget?
We're doing okay.
Doing okay?
Yeah.
I noticed some departments are starting to get a little stretched on gasoline or fuel.
Yeah, I'm not over. I know that. I'm where I should be with the percent of the month. And
Okay. Any questions for the fire chief? I'd make the motion that that we accept the fire chief's report as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, passes on a vote of 3-0. Are there any board member comments?
No.
Hearing none. Miscellaneous business, including ADA Section 504 compliance and concerns, or any other matters not already considered. Hearing none. Entertain a motion to adjourn.